They're not good enough to start. They're not even good enough to play. But they do talk a good game. So come join Lou and Jose from the sidelines where all the best sports discussions happen anyway. Welcome in to the Benchwarmerz podcast.
Welcome into the program, everybody. I'm Lou Ruggieri, that's Jose Ortiz, and this is the Benchwarmerz podcast. Wherever, whenever, and however you happen to be listening, we appreciate you taking some time out to spend it with us. Hopefully, we're making it worth your while. We had a great hour one. We talked the NBA, the season wrap-up. We dealt with that. We covered the top 5 storylines in the NFL for week number 5. And coming up in a little bit, we actually have to look ahead to week 6 already, make some picks, go over our sports betting segment, put your money where your mouth is. You can follow us along, by the way, iHeartRadio, podcasting app. We're on Spotify, YouTube, the newly formed Amazon Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Facebook and Instagram. You can find us, the Benchwarmers Podcast. Twitter, at the BW Pod. Our email address is the Benchwarmers Podcast at yahoo.com. Benchwarmers with a Z, for marketing purposes. And basically, if you're listening to us, you already know where to find us. But that's a subtle reminder to keep checking us out. Ratings are always welcomed and accepted, and criticism is not always well received, but well appreciated. So keep it coming. Coming up, we talked week number 6 coming up, but right now we have to do our favorite game, Make No Mistake or Give Me a Break. And these are basically, we're going to make a series of statements to each other, and we're going to answer with Make No Mistake, that's for sure, or come on, give me a break. That's ridiculous. So, Jose, without any further ado, would you like to kick or receive for Make No Mistake?
I will kick.
Okay. Kick off, my friend.
This first one, this is a lost season for the San Francisco 49ers, who fell to 2-3 after being obliterated by the Miami Dolphins.
I'm going to say, give me a break. I mean, they're 8 months removed from almost winning 8 months and a quarter removed from almost winning the Super Bowl. I think that the 49ers were just on the receiving end of some Fitzmagic. And, Ryan Fitzpatrick just had one of those, he giveth and taketh away, and he can throw, one game he can throw 5 touchdowns, next game he can throw 5 interceptions. So I think it doesn't bode well for the Niners that Jimmy Garoppolo got benched for Gethard in the second half, but that might have just been Kyle Shanahan just saying, like, maybe throwing in the towel and maybe giving Jimmy G something to think about to come back and fight stronger. So I'm going to say give me a break. I think
I'm going the other way. I say make no mistake. This is... I don't want to be overreacting, but that was a troubling loss to me. It's one thing to lose a game for the Dolphins, but to be embarrassed, essentially, it wasn't close. It was at home. It was in San Francisco, too, or in Santa Clara. Their offense doesn't have the same explosiveness. Their defense obviously isn't the same. And then you combine that with the fact that the Seahawks are undefeated, the Rams have only 1 loss, the Cardinals are clearly better than the 49ers. I mean, I don't see how they make the playoffs this year. Now, the one thing that's good is, I guess maybe they'll get a higher draft pick next year. And if I'm them, I'm spending one of my, either a 3rd or 4th round pick on a quarterback. I'm not saying that Jimmy G isn't the long-term answer, but I think we need another quality starter, another quality player at this position, not named C.J. Beathard or Nick Mullins.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is sort of why they play the game. I think that this was just one of those games where, remember last year, not that it's a great example, but last year the Cowboys were Super Bowl favorites through 3 weeks, and then I think it was week 7 where Sam Darnold came back and they beat. They trounced the Cowboys.
That's right.
And then even this week too. I mean, the Raiders put a beat down on the Chiefs. That doesn't mean the Chiefs are done. So I think this is more of an anomaly. I think Kyle Shanahan will figure it out. But
I hope you're right. Yeah. I'm not feeling good.
I mean, it's a tough division to kind of be 2-3 in right now. But we'll see. I wouldn't give up just yet. If they have another loss like that, if the Rams put a beating on them next Sunday, then maybe you could start to panic a little bit.
All right. Number two, or my next one here. We cannot count out the Bears or the Rams as NFC contenders. Both are 4-1.
I'm going to say, make no mistake. You know, you are what your record says you are. You know, that's so. The Rams are sort of under the radar a bit this year, and they're doing pretty good. You know, the Jared Goff, I have to say, looks better. You know, he's making throws, he's making good decisions, he's not turning the ball over, and you know, it also helps to have the best defensive player in football on the other side of the ball, kind of just wreaking havoc on everyone. And the Bears, I mean, the Bears could do it. I mean, Nick Foles isn't necessarily the best quarterback, but I mean, he just has to be a serviceable game manager at this point, and that's kind of what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm going to say make no mistake either. I think a week or two ago I was bashing Nick Foles, calling him Cinderella and all this other stuff, and then he turns around and goes out and outplays Tom Brady down the stretch on Thursday Night Football last week. So I've been impressed with the Bears. They have it on defense. They have some quality pieces on offense. They just it just feels like they have to be able to put it together for the full season. And the Rams, I mean, they're just 2 years removed from being in the Super Bowl, right? Yep. So we can't act like the Rams just disappeared and just forgot how to play football. I think in the NFL sometimes, I've said this many times, maybe not I'm just in conversation. The NFL, the difference between a 5-11 team and an 11-5 team is probably 30 plays over the course of a season, or 30 plays where you won that play or your team won that play instead of the other team winning that play, and that's why you won the game. That's what it boils down to. So, all right, next one. The NFL will finish this season.
I say make no mistake. There's no way. There's no way the NFL will find anywhere. There's too much money to have anything. I mean, if they have to, they might stop the season for 2 weeks and let everybody kind of reset. But this season will absolutely be finished. Make no mistake.
Yeah, make no mistake. They'll finish the season. It just feels like every week now there's multiple people. Like I wake up every morning praying that no one has coronavirus because it feels like it's a house of cards, and that's getting ready to topple. And the one thing that worries me is that in baseball you can play double headers. You can play multiple double headers in a week. You can't really do that in football, and so that worries me. Like, what do they do if 3 teams have a coronavirus outbreak in a week? And that's kind of the worry I have. But I would still say make no mistake.
I'd like to point out my plan, by the way. Then we'll move on right after this. But I did have a plan that I did submit to the NFL, and Jerry Jones and the commissioner,
Roger Goodell.
Goodell, sorry, earlier in the preseason, where I laid out a very effective timeline where the NFL could have played every other week, had 8 teams play on alternating weeks, and thereby giving everybody 14 days between games, which would have solved the problem almost across the board. Just saying, maybe, I don't know, NFL, you could have listened to what I said. I
mean, and especially, listen, you need to tell them that you're 5-0 and are put your money where your mouth is. Obviously, you know football very well, so they need to be listening to you. This is ridiculous.
Just saying, if they followed my advice from the beginning of the season, we wouldn't be watching, the Titans blow out the Bills on a Tuesday night. I'm just saying. And then we'd have a Thursday night game, or we probably wouldn't have Thursday night games, but we might have Saturday games and Sunday games. So, but whatever. That's fine, NFL. Fine. Do it your way.
All right, 2 more. 2 more for you. Dak Prescott will be a Cowboy next season.
I'm going to say make no mistake. I think he's a franchised quarterback next season again, but I think that there's no, I mean, the PR nightmare the backlash that would come from this if they jettisoned Dak after losing him in that fashion is no. I don't even think that the Joneses are that tone deaf.
I want to say make no mistake as well, but I do see what happened to Cam Newton. Cam Newton's a little bit different stage of his career than Dak Prescott, but Cam Newton is a former MVP, did lead the team to a Super Bowl appearance a few years back, and they just cut him after he it seemed like he was healthy, or he was apparently healthy. So I wouldn't put it past anyone and put anything past anyone in the NFL at this point. But I still say make no mistake. It just seems like that's their best path forward.
Yeah.
And my last one, this is focused on a player here. Mm-hmm. Zach Ertz is washed up. 5 receptions, 15 total yards in the last 2 games. 1 touchdown this season. And just want to point out, last game there was no Dallas Goedert, no Alshon Jeffrey, no Deshaun Jackson. And it seems like he just can't separate anymore.
I'm going to say give me a break, and specifically because there was no Dallas Goedert, there was no Alshon Jeffrey, there was no Deshaun Jackson. So defenses there's nobody else on that team to, Jalen Reagor has been banged up. Yeah. I forget. They had one guy who had some crazy amount of receptions this last year who I've never heard of.
They had, was it Travis Fulham, who had 2 receptions in his career before the past game, and then had 10 receptions on 13 targets.
Yeah, I think that Zach Ertz is just being I think speaking of lost years, like you were asking about the 49ers, I think it's a lost year for the Eagles, and this is just kind of a result of that.
So I'm gonna disagree here. I'm gonna say make no mistake. I saw him tail off at the end of last year. Mm-hmm. And then the beginning of this year, I thought, he's going to just dominate. And he had 6 targets this past week. 1 catch for 6 yards. Yeah. It just feels like you're telling me this.
You're only as good as your quarterback is.
That's fair.
Carson Wentz.
Travis Fulham, 10 touchdowns, 152 yards.
Yeah. Just no one even knew he was playing.
That's true. That's fair. I just feel like, like for example, if you only had George Kittle to throw the ball to, he's not getting 1 catch for 6 yards. You only had Travis Kelce to throw the ball to. He's not getting 1 catch for 6 yards because he's too big, too strong, too fast for you to really guard him. And that's where I'm just concerned that he's not finished in the NFL as far as being a tight end, but as far as an upper echelon, elite, top 5 type tight end, I think those days are gone.
Yeah, he might be in that second tier now. He might be, that's entirely possible. I think that he's still very serviceable, and he would benefit from being on a team that isn't throwing to mannequins at this point. So,
and a quarterback that actually can complete passes.
Well, complete passes to his team, not to the other.
Yes.
That's important. All right, so Jose, that's well done. Make no mistake or give me a break. I'm going to throw some back at you now. So, real quick, make no mistake or give me a break. The 49ers, Vikings, and Colts should all be calling Atlanta to see if they can trade for Matt Ryan.
Well, I have to say, make no mistake. I don't know if I would include all of them. I don't think the 49ers should be giving up a first-round pick or a second-round pick to get Matt Ryan because I don't think they're on the cusp of a Super Bowl right now. I think that it doesn't feel that. They don't feel like a team that has that in them right this season, but certainly the Colts. I mean, they're just clearly the glaring weakness on this team is their quarterback. Phillip Rivers is trash right now, and he should be out of the NFL. The Vikings, it's not a bad thought. It's not a bad thought. I kind of feel the same way with the Vikings as I do with the 49ers. You only make the trade if you feel like you're one move away from winning the Super Bowl, and I don't think that we could say that with them right now.
Yeah. I think, I'm going to say, make no mistake, I think that to a lesser extent the 49ers, but I think, the 49ers make sense though, because the last time Matt Ryan was really good was with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, so, that's true.
I mean, that's tough to, Kirk Cousins, it stinks because his contract is guaranteed, so that money is just lost. But the Colts for sure should be. I mean, they should have been on the phone with him already. But
I think that for me, it depends on what you have to give up. If you're saying the 49ers have to give up like a 3rd-round pick or a 4th-round pick, do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But if you have to give up a 1st-rounder, I don't know if I would do that.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting a 1st-rounder for Matt Ryan. I mean, he's 35 or something.
But you got a 1st-rounder for Carson Palmer years back. I feel like the market for quarterbacks is just, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, speaking of old 49ers, next up, make no mistake or give me a break, Alex Smith is a lock for comeback player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's make no mistake. As long as he can get back on the field again, that's the one thing I would worry about. But I imagine Kyle Allen will play badly enough where they'll just let Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Especially if this division manages to stay close. Let's say, Kyle Allen's not getting the job done, but somehow, some way, the Eagles and the Cowboys keep losing, and come week 7 or week 8 or week 9. The Redskins look up and they're only 1 game or 2 games back. Yeah, get Alex Smith in there and give yourself the best chance to win. So I would say make no mistake, comeback player of the year. I don't even know who would be another person to even consider, honestly.
Maybe Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know if you can count that at this point because he kind of came back. But yeah, I think Alex Smith, and watching him jog out there this week after Kyle Allen got hurt it was both incredible, after 17 surgeries, nearly losing his leg, nearly losing his life, and then seeing him back as a starting quarterback in the NFL was just crazy. And then, it was also a little frightening because he's now going against Aaron Donald, who,
yeah.
You talk about destructive force. It was a little scary, but thankfully nothing bad happened, and he made it through. So yeah, I think Alex Smith should get comeback player of the year this year and next year, just because he did so much. All right, next up, make no mistake or give me a break. Justin Herbert will have a better statistical season than Drew Brees this year.
I'll make no mistake.
Just for reference, I just want to give you some reference. So, Drew Brees has played 5 games, obviously. He has a 71% completion ratio, 1,331 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. Justin Herbert has played 4 games, 68.8% completion ratio, 1,195 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. So he has the same amount of touchdowns and interceptions with 1 less game, and he's only behind by about 130 yards passing.
Yeah, give me Justin Herbert this year. He's getting better and better. I feel like Drew Brees keeps getting bailed out by guys taking underneath routes and going a long way with them. Drew Brees' arm strength seems like it's depleted, and his willingness to go down the field seems non-existent. So, yeah, give me Justin Herbert. Make no mistake.
I agree. Even spotting him that extra game, I think Justin Herbert's going to just. His deep ball is just unbelievable. I mean, he's just gonna. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, and it does benefit him being surrounded by a lot of talent. But I think Justin Herbert's stats are going to blow away Drew Brees by the end of this year. Obviously, not career-wise, but just for the season. All right, make no mistake, or give me a break. The Ravens are once again the front runners of the AFC.
No, give me a break. I'm not even sure if the Ravens are number 2 or number 3, honestly. The Ravens have looked not great to me. Like they've been getting the job done against teams that they're supposed to beat, but they were embarrassed by the Chiefs, and I need to see them beat a really good team. Like I need to see them beat I guess they did beat the Browns in week 1, so I guess we should count that because the Browns are 4-1. It's their only loss, but I don't know. I'm just not impressed by the Ravens right now. I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC, but I'm having a hard time putting the Ravens at number 2 right now.
I'm going to say give me a break because I still think it is the Chiefs. Until the champ gets knocked off when it counts, I think they're still the champ. The Ravens, though, I think that Chiefs game, I think was a wake-up call, and if that defense, granted it is against the Cincinnati Bengals, but their defense was a force on that team. And Judon's back. Calais Campbell is a monster. Marcus Peters looks like a great. He's just all over the place. So they did well, albeit against a very subpar team. But the Bengals' offense has not been the problem. It's just I don't know. But I still think it is the Chiefs. All right. So finally, make no mistake or give me a break. The NFC East will be relegated to the NCAA, and the SEC will be promoted.
Make no mistake, no.
I'm going to say give me a break only because I think it shouldn't be just the SEC. It should be Clemson, and Ohio State should also get honorable mention. So I think it should just be a couple teams in the SEC and Ohio State and Clemson. Other than that, make no mistake. Get the NFC East out of here. They're embarrassing football.
Yeah, I mean, it's
if Clemson played the NFC East in consecutive weeks, do you think that they could go 2-2?
No, I think they would go.
No, I don't think so
either. It is fun to rag on the NFC East, and it's just
the NFC East.
What happens when you don't have good quarterback play? I mean, you have Daniel Jones, you had
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins.
He was inactive.
I mean, Carson Wentz, we thought was a good quarterback. I feel like he's dropped out of my top 10 at this point. I don't even know.
Andy Dalton is the best quarterback in the NFC East right now.
It feels that way. It really does. And I don't. And this is not 2013, so wow. It doesn't seem like it should be, but it does feel that way. I would expect still the Cowboys to win, but the division is trash. It is trash. It's not even close. Like it's by far the worst division. So
the NFC East is essentially the Rutgers of the Big Ten. Like that's what Rutgers is to the Big Ten as the NFC East is to the NFL.
Yeah,
it's pathetic, and they should be ashamed of themselves because 7 wins might get you into the playoffs this year.
Looks like 6 wins will get you into the playoffs this year. Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where.
Combined, the Jets and Giants are 0-10.
Yeah, they're gonna. I wonder if the Giants and Jets play this year because it's like it would be the toilet bowl, right? The winner gets Trevor Lawrence, or Trevor Lawrence says, "I'm going back to college for another year, guys."
All right, that's enough. God, that's bad. NFC East, get your act together. Come on, you're embarrassing yourself. All right. We're going to take a break. That's our Make No Mistake or Give Me a Break. And speaking of breaks, we're going to take one right now. And we're going to come back. We have to go over our sports betting segment. Little foreshadowing. You should listen to my advice, apparently. I'm doing well. And then we have to look ahead and make some more Week 6 picks, including our next sports bet, which I'll probably lose now that I said that. So feel free to stick around. And we'll be right back on the Benchwarmerz podcast.
If you're sick with COVID-19 or think you might have it, take steps to help protect other people from getting sick. Stay home except to get medical care. Call the doctor before visiting. Separate yourself from others who live with you. Wear a cloth face covering to protect others. Cover your coughs and sneezes with a tissue and clean your hands right away. Avoid sharing items with other people in your home. This includes things like towels and bedding. Be sure dishes are washed in hot water or the dishwasher before anyone else uses them. Stay aware of how you feel. If you start to have difficulty breathing or if you're worried about your health, call your doctor. For more tips, visit cdc.gov.
And now back to the Benchwarmers podcast with Lou and Jose.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. I'm Lou Ruggieri. That's Jose Ortiz, and this is still the Benchwarmers podcast. Appreciate you taking some time to spend it with us. Hopefully it's been a fun ride thus far. First hour, we talked NBA season wrap-up. We went over the top 5 NFL stories of the week. Beginning of this hour, we played our favorite game, Make No Mistake or Give Me a Break, our true-false segment. And now, finally, we have to look ahead to Week 6. But first, we kind of have to recap and see how we did in Week 5 in not only our overall picks, but our sports book bets of the week. And Jose, I think you have all of our numbers in front of you because you're keeping track.
So for put your money where your mouth is, you remain the all-knowing, all-powerful one. You astutely picked the Raiders, who were giving 12.5 points, which seems ridiculous now that they won.
Getting 12.
Yeah, getting 12.5. It seems ridiculous now that they won. Yeah. But I just taking us back a week. It felt entirely possible that the Raiders could just get completely blown out of this game.
Absolutely.
But they, you called it. The Raiders won the game by 8 points, so obviously you covered. And I, picking on the Texans, took the Jaguars plus, who were getting 6.5.
Yeah.
And they lost, I believe, 30-15.
I did think that was a good bet, though. Honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't think Romeo Crennel at 73 years old was going to suddenly light a fire under Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The one thing, when you have bad teams, it was 30-14, not 30-15. When you have bad teams, there's just inconsistency. So, like, I'm expecting the Jaguars. They've been playing certain teams tough. So I was like, oh, they only lost to the Titans by 1 point. They should be able to win this game. There's just no consistency from week to week, and you got to remember those things when you're betting on teams that are terrible.
Boomer Esiason said that's why they play the game.
Exactly. So this week, me trying to catch you, trying my best to. I'm 2-3, and my put your money where your mouth is. You are 5-0. I am going to pick on your Cowboys here. I'm taking the Cardinals minus 2.5 at the Cowboys.
I mean, I think that's a good bet. I expect that line to change over the course of the week. I'm surprised it hasn't already, but yeah, I mean, the Cardinals given less than a field goal, I think is kind of crazy at this point, unless there's going to be some kind of, do it for Dak rally cry or something. But I mean, even then,
you could do it for Dak when he was on the field, though.
Oh, right? Yeah, okay. There's that defense still. I mean, Leighton Vander Esch is supposed to come back this week, so maybe that defense gets a little bit of a jump start. But I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. So I think that's a good bet. I'm actually gonna this. I feel like I say this every week, but I'm very. There's two bets, and I'm gonna put them both out there, but I'm going with one over the other. The one that caught my eye was that the Bears are getting 2.5 at the Panthers, and I think that's very interesting. That
they're getting 2.5 or giving 2.5.
No, the Bears are the underdogs against the Panthers.
That is interesting.
Very curious. I mean, that's bulletin board material if I've ever seen it.
And the Bears are the Panthers are 3-2. We can't be sleeping on them right
Bears
now.
are 4-1.
It's okay. They have one more win.
But yeah, I don't know. So, but I'm actually not going to go with that. The game I'm going to go with might be a little surprising, but I'm actually going to go with the Packers -2 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this seems like it has the makings of a great legacy game, but the Bucks defense is good, but their offense is just decimated right now. I mean, Miller's out, OJ Howard's gone for the year. Gronk is 1,000 years old. Brady, can't remember what down it is. Fournette's been out. He's been hurt. So, and I think the Packers defense is better than the Bucks offense. And Godwin, of course, Chris Godwin's he played, I think, 2 games this year. And I think that the Packers, and I think Aaron Rodgers, more specifically, going against Tom Brady, I think he's going to come out with something to prove because he always kind of has a chip on his shoulder. So you better believe going against the the quarterback that everyone says is the GOAT is going to kind of get him going a little bit. And the fact that they're giving up less than a field goal, I expect the Packers to win. Even if it's not convincing, I think it's going to be more than 3 points. So give me the Packers -2.
I think it's a ballsy pick just because the Bucks are at home and they're coming off of a pretty disappointing loss. But the Packers have had a whole week, an extra week, I should say.
Yeah, I feel like home field advantage just doesn't play that much of a role anymore. I mean, you look at that Vikings in Seattle. I mean, how much different would that game have been if that 12th man had actually been in the stadium? I just think that this year home field advantage means less than it ever has, and so.
I just want to make a quick comment on something you just said, though. Completely forgot. Brady not remembering what down it was. Is there any other player in the NFL where if they forgot what down it was? Because I feel like Brady got a little bit of a pass. Like, people called him out a little bit, but it wasn't like if that had been Cam Newton or Sam Darnold.
Carson Wentz.
These guys would have been crucified.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Brady kind of, deservedly so, right? You get 6 championships, you kind of get the benefit of the doubt. But still, it's just something I thought of.
I think it helped. I think it did help that Bruce Arians kind of had his back in the press conference afterwards. And yeah. I mean, I guess he's got enough built up credit where hopefully it doesn't come back and haunt them, later on in the year. But I guess we'll see.
I'm not sure they would have won that game anyway, but it was just maybe that's part of what it boils down to. Who didn't feel like they had the momentum to win that game.
Yeah,
but still,
yeah, it was embarrassing.
All right, well, our week 6 picks. I'm sorry, because the season is moving along here.
Yeah, it is.
I just want to catch us up here. You had a very strong week, and I had a very bad week in week 5, which seems to be what's going on this whole season. You just keep having strong weeks. But you were 10-4 this week.
Nice.
And I was 8-6.
Nice.
He misses by me. I picked I switched from the Panthers, and I picked the Falcons to beat the Panthers. And you switched from the Bills, and you picked the Titans, and Titans just destroyed the Bills.
Embarrassed the Bills. Yeah, that was an embarrassing loss. Wow.
So, you also picked the Browns. I picked the Colts. I was just off all over the place this week. So hopefully I can get back into the win column this week in week 6 or get back going. So let's just get it going. We have no Thursday night football this week.
Yep.
All right. So Houston at Tennessee.
Houston at Tennessee. Give me Tennessee.
Yeah,
especially
Tennessee.
After that blowing out the undefeated Bills. I mean,
I clearly underestimated the Tennessee Titans this year. I had them as the second best team in that division, and it's looking like I was off there. So
I feel like we all just continue to underestimate the Titans, mostly just because they're not an exciting team to watch.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean,
All
it's going to be exciting if they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right, Cincinnati at Indianapolis.
Ugh. Cincinnati at Indy. Give me Indy. Although I think it's going to be closer than people think it is.
I agree on both counts. I've got Indy, but I'm not happy about it. I think Cincinnati's is getting better. So
only because Cincinnati's defense is all time bad, but so is Phillip Rivers at this point. So it's kind of like it's the immovable object versus the unstoppable force.
Speaking of the toilet bowl,
Yep.
Atlanta at Minnesota.
Yeah, there's some bad games this week. Wow, I'm gonna give you Minnesota. I guess Minnesota. It just feels like Atlanta is kind of just given up. It just feels like they don't believe that they can win anymore.
It's hard to pick Atlanta right now. So yeah. It's Minnesota until Atlanta finds a way to win a game that they're actually supposed to win.
Yeah,
give me Minnesota. Denver at New England.
Wow. Denver. Do we know if Cam Newton's playing?
Yeah, I was like, that's why I was confused. Like, wait, is this game postponed? I wasn't 100% sure, but I think this game's on.
Give me New England. It's hard to pick against them. I mean, Denver. Is it Brett Rippon? I mean, come on. Bill Belichick's going to eat him for breakfast.
They almost beat the Ravens. Not the Ravens. The Chiefs a couple weeks ago. So, speaking of another bad game, Washington Redskins at the New York Giants.
Oh, can I pick a tie?
Honestly, if you pick a tie and they tie, I want to give you 2 points.
Yeah, but do I lose 2 if I
yes,
pick?
You do. You lose 2.
All right. Washington and the Giants. Man.
I'm going to tell you, I'm picking the Redskins on this one. I feel like the Redskins are a better team.
Give me the Giants. Give me the Giants. I think that they might have found themselves a little bit by beating up the Cowboys defense.
Watch that game be like come down to the wire, but be like 16-14 or something, like some terrible game.
Oh, it's going to be awful. It's going to be like 11-9.
All right, Baltimore at Philadelphia.
I think this game's going to be better than we think, only because the Philly's defensive line is the only unit on that team that's playing up to expectation. Between Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, they're unbelievable. But I think Baltimore's just got too many weapons. I think. Give me Baltimore.
Same. I have Baltimore here. There's another one that's kind of tough, I think.
It wouldn't surprise me if Philly wins. Sorry, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to put that out there. It would not surprise me if Philadelphia wins, though. I'm not taking them. Not enough to take them, but
just to support your point there a little bit, I think Baltimore has not been overly impressive on offense this year. They've been okay on offense. They've been okay on defense. They haven't been overly impressive. You kind of been waiting for them to have that dominant. If they don't get out to an early lead, it just feels like it's not going to be a good game for them. So We'll
Yeah,
see.
they cannot play from behind. Agreed.
Nope. All right. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Maybe the game of the week.
Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Wow, that's actually gonna be a really good game. Man, give me Pittsburgh. I think that their defense is going to be a little much, and I think Baker, as good as the Browns looked running the ball, I think Baker still doesn't look like he's figured it out. I think that they just keep taking the ball out of his hands, so I think that he makes a critical mistake at a bad time, and that's going to be the decision maker. And by the way, Chase Claypool, unbelievable.
Wow,
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so,
nice snatch in Dynasty, by the way.
Our Dynasty League, I'm very happy about that. What did I say when we I'm not, inside, but when we did our Dynasty fantasy draft, I picked up Chase Claypool, and my rationale was that there's two positions that the Pittsburgh Steelers are historically great at drafting, and it's linebackers and wide receivers.
Yep. Now, I as much as I wanted to come up with a narrative as to why I could pick the Cleveland Browns, I just feel like at this point, I need Cleveland to prove it to me within the division. Going to Pittsburgh and getting a win, that's a statement win right there.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens, but I'm picking Pittsburgh right now. Here's a game you referenced earlier. Chicago at Carolina.
I think Chicago puts a beat down on them. I think that they use that underdog as bulletin board material, and I think that their defense just puts the clamps down on Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I'm taking Chicago as well. It's the same type of thing. I just don't see their offense being that effective. They're going to shut down Mike Davis. They're going to shut down Teddy Bridgewater. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
All right, Detroit at Jacksonville.
Oh, that's another bad game. Wow.
I like the Lions in this game.
Yeah,
they've been off for a while.
I can't pick. The Jaguars need to just. They need to change. Like, there's a lot of people on that team that needs to change their names. Like, I was listening to the game this week, and just who names their child Gardner? Gardner, like, you could. I understand Minshew, fine, it's your last name, but you can change your first name. Like, doesn't he have a middle name he could go by? I mean, why would you go through your life like that? My God, the childhood that poor guy must have had. And then DJ Chark, like, change it. It has to be Shark. It has to be Shark. It can't be Chark. It has to be Shark. You got to stop.
Well, I feel like the last name, is your last name. You probably can't really change your last name, I would imagine. But
if you want, if you want to, you can. And as a complete side note, by the way, going back to the Ravens for a second, I forgot to mention this. And speaking of names, not that we do a best and worst of the week, but if we did, my worst of the week was Greg Gumbel. On the telecast for the Ravens game, he kept up until the third quarter. He was, every time Lamar Jackson dropped back to pass, he would say, and Murray with the pass. Murray drops back. Murray. He was calling Lamar Jackson Kyler Murray through three quarters. What? And I blame Rich Gannon equally as much, because after the first three times, you think you turn your mic off and go, "Hey man, wrong guy." And so it was painful every time he said it. I thought, like, the first 12 times I heard it, I was like, "There's no way that he's saying." I thought he was saying something else.
Like, hurry.
Finally in the third quarter, he goes, "Oh, why do I keep calling him Murray?" And I was like, 3 quarters in, you figure this out, you jackass! Like, oh my God, it was so embarrassing, and it just made me think of it with all the names in the Jacksonville game. But yeah, Greg Gumbel, you gotta come on. You're better than
Gardner. I like to think that he was named after someone in his family who was like this great person, that it just made it feel like he couldn't change his name. That's because you're right. If it's not that, why would you not change your name?
Yeah, Steve, Mark, Paul, John. Pick something out of the Bible.
You really have to blame his parents. It's a lot of pressure. I imagine changing your name after you've been, called something for 18 years is not easy to do. Like, it's not just a thing you just snap your fingers like, hey, I've been called Gardner for 18 years. My name is now John.
Was that the goal? Like, what was I would love to know the genesis of that. Like, were they hoping that he was going to be a gardener? Was he conceived in a garden? I mean, was that his dad's occupation? Were they farmers? Like, is it? I mean, what if it was a bus driver Minshew? I mean, what if it was a different vocation? I don't know. It's just every time I hear it, it bothers me.
Well, we have had a player called Lawyer Malloy, so I mean, it's
yeah, very true. Very true.
All right. So
anyway,
long story short, both the Lions there. Okay.
I can't choose a guy named Gardner. I'm sorry.
New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, the Adam Gase Bowl.
Yeah.
Give me the Dolphins because they don't have Adam Gase anymore.
Can I just say, and I took the Dolphins as well. Can I just say that early in this year, we got a couple things wrong about where teams are going to place. We called early that the Jets were going to be a dumpster fire and last place in that division, and not close.
They're real bad.
And it's actually they are actually probably worse than I think that we thought they were going to be. So,
and in pure Jets fashion, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence that pulls a John Elway and Eli Manning and just says, nope, not going there. And that would be the perfect ending to this Jets season, is if the best quarterback in recent history is just like, I'm going to stay here.
All right. Green Bay at Tampa Bay.
Give me Green Bay.
This is a tough one for me because, one, I want to catch up to you. Two, I think this is a game that the Bucs could win, but I can't.
They could win, sure.
Well, they could win, but if it was Green Bay against the Jets, I would know that there was no possible way. Nothing that the Jets could do would give them a chance to win that game.
I mean, it is possible.
No, that's not. The Jets have no chance of beating. Unless every player gets struck by lightning.
I was going to say, yeah, if
the
Packers plane went down or they all got coronavirus and had to forfeit, the Jets could win that game.
Yeah, it's all practice squad players on the field.
Yes, and all of the Jets were on PEDs. It's possible.
All right, here we go. Los Angeles at San Francisco. The Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers.
I mean, I hate to be a prisoner of the moment, but it's hard to forget that the Niners just got. I know I said it was an anomaly, but the Rams look like they're playing pretty well, and the 49ers do not. So I'm going to take the Rams.
I'm going to ride or die here with the 49ers, and I'm just going to take San Francisco. They're at home, divisional game. Just got embarrassed. I think they're going to want to. They're going to get off the mat and maybe get a win. I still think it's a lost season, but they'll get some wins here and there. I think this will be a win, like a pride win. They'll get this one.
Yep.
All right. Kansas City Chiefs at Buffalo, Sunday Night Football.
It's got to be the Chiefs.
I'm sorry. I think that's late. That's early Monday football, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs. Yep. Once again, even with the loss, you can never pick against the Chiefs.
Yeah. And the Bills just got blown out. So.
Yeah. All right. Last game. Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys.
Eesh. Well, I am not going to be ride or die here, and I'm going to go with the Cardinals. And a bonus prediction, even if I'm not guaranteeing the Cardinals win, but I'm going to say that Kyler Murray runs for 100 yards and DeAndre Hopkins receives 200 yards. I think both of those things happen.
You're calling for stats too.
Yeah.
If those two things happen, I'm literally just going to tell my wife, hey, listen, I got $50 every week. I'm betting on whatever Lou tells me to bet on. That's it. And we're going to become millionaires.
Yep. The Cowboys defense is too bad. I think Kyler is going to run all over them. And DeAndre Hopkins makes good defenses look silly. So the Cowboys, no.
Just a reminder, a heads up for anyone watching football this coming week. There is no Sunday night football game. It's only Monday at 5 and then a Monday at 8 o'clock. So no Sunday.
No, there's
football.
Sunday. Rams Niners is Sunday night.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Okay, my mistake.
Yep.
I was looking at the calendar, the clock.
There's no Thursday night game.
Yeah, there's no. And the 49ers are my favorite team, so they're at the top of my list when I have them here, and so that's why I didn't see it. Yep. You're right. My mistake. Okay.
Yeah, there's no Thursday, but
Good night. Okay.
All
right. Well, that's it, and hopefully I can catch you this week. We'll see.
I hope not, but
at least chip away, get one closer or something like that. I don't need you running away anymore. So.
I'd like to build on a lead, but we'll see.
Of course.
All right, so and you can follow us all along. We can kind of keep you posted through Facebook and Instagram. We're the Benchwarmers Podcast. We're at the BW Pod on Twitter. Email address is thebenchwarmerspodcast@yahoo.com. Benchwarmers with a Z. You can also follow us along. If you're listening to us, you already know where to find us. But in case anybody asks, you can follow us along at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. We're on Amazon Podcasts and the iHeartRadio podcasting app. So for Jose Ortiz, I am Lou Ruggieri, and happy 6-month anniversary, Jose. We'll see you next time. All right, bye-bye.